our customers look at feasibility as a huge nightmare. I have always seen it as a huge opportunity.
Hello everybody, thank you for tuning back to the channel. It's been a while since we've given an update video on what MacNac has been up to. Today we wanted to talk about feasibility on property and land because that seems to be one of the big questions we get from lots of different potential clients and anybody that emails in or shoots us a call and is interested in purchasing, or should I say building a custom home. First step is always requiring some type of parcel or land to build on. So today we wanted to talk about that feasibility and some of the situations you may run into and a lot of different things that you may not think of when you're purchasing a piece of property. So TD, where are we at right now with MacNac as far as projects go?
Feasibility is a big topic. People don't realize how big of a topic this is. And you and I were talking about this yesterday, and we realized this is an entire video itself.
Oh, it's
I think we were trying to shoe in, all right, how do we talk about it? And we realized, all right, this is a big topic. So, feasibility. One thing I should say is I have been actively buying property since 2000 when I was in flight school. So I bought my first one during flight school. And before that, and then after that, real estate has been something for me I enjoy, I like it, and I constantly am looking at it. So all over the world, I've looked at real estate. Wherever I've been traveling, I've always had an eye for real estate. So one of the things that you get into in detail is the period of time that we're talking about. Feasibility is the period of time between when you have negotiated a contract and terms, like say $300,000 in 45 days, and the 45 days being your feasibility. So now you've got terms on the feasibility, you've agreed to a price, and now you as the buyer are marching through the issues as you have identified them in the beginning. And that 45 days is your 45-day window that you're saying to the buyer, look, I'm going to spend money on this property. I want to know that I have a contract with you before I spend any money researching this property, before I waste any of my time researching this property. So that's what you do. In that 45 days, you launch into it. One of the things you alluded to, which is true, is that all properties are different. And we have enjoyed, being MacNac, have enjoyed picking up some very lucrative properties that were not easy on feasibility. And that's why we picked them up. We're working on some now where previous people have paid more than $600,000 more than what we're looking at purchasing the same property for. But there are environmental issues. So we're situated very well to take care of those environmental issues because we're a general contractor. We've done environmental for the Department of Defense, and we feel comfortable with that stuff. Mm-hmm. We are very comfortable dealing with the bureaucracy of the government. Mm-hmm. Department of Defense is very bureaucratic, and so dealing with state planning, city planning, county planning for us is kind of a eye roller. Right. It's just such a step down.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to experience those issues.
Right.
They're looking for a purchase and build piece of property. But with that ease of and convenience comes a price.
Yeah.
So like you said, people are paying 5-10 times more than what we're paying for some of these properties.
Right.
Because they're not willing to put in the legwork, or they just don't know. Somebody might just say, hey, that's not buildable.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's money, money in the pocket for somebody that looks at it a little deeper than what the typical person would.
Yeah, I think we talked about that property that was down on the beach. I forget the neighborhood, but and it was unbuildable. Mm-hmm. It was unbuildable because there's a rule in that county that you have to have at least 9,000 square feet to be a buildable lot.
That was Redondo Beach.
Redondo Beach, yeah. We wanted to build a cool, elevated beach pad down there. And so we took some time and looked into it. It would have been feasible, but we ended up getting busy with some other properties. So we never closed the loop on that. But that was an example of a guy that just wanted to dump a property.
Yeah.
I mean, $4,000 for some sweet land down in Redondo Beach that this gentleman had purchased on an online auction and didn't realize it wasn't buildable. So it was buildable, and we could have used that lot. We could have built on that lot by purchasing hillside adjacent to this property, and then we would have fulfilled that square footage requirement to build. So that's an example where you would think you'd think that these other buyers would have done their due diligence. Well, the only reason we knew that is because we'd built in that area and we could go down there and talk to them. So the properties that you're talking about, I think the ones that we want to step through in feasibility from easiest to deal with to most difficult to deal with.
That sounds good.
Would be. Now, a lot of the properties that we have purchased on our builds are from the bank. And the reason that we purchased those from the bank is that an REO, that means real estate owned, an REO that the bank owns is not something they want. They don't want that on their books. And a lot of the properties that we have purchased have been REOs. In Hawaii, we found an REO that had fallen through. The bank had held that REO for, I don't remember, 6 or 8 years. It was caught up in some sort of a litigation. Hits the market around Christmas time. We make a cash offer. We're looking at 2 lots. We were honest with them. We said, look, we're looking at 2 lots. It's a cash offer. We need an answer. 2 days we gave them. We didn't care. We're just like, look, we're looking at this lot or that lot, but we need an answer. You guys got 2 days. They came back, accepted our offer, and we went through the feasibility. But on that lot, it was nothing really.
Yeah.
It was nothing that was scary about it. The only reason why it's sad is that it was unappealing. It was a lot, and we'll get into this as we build this project out. This is coming now. We're going through design on this now.
Yeah, so we're past feasibility. We're in the design phase right now. And why was it unappealing?
It's unappealing because even though the location is awesome, it is in the downtown of this historic village. It's right in the middle of everything. Next door neighbor is a historic landmark. Across the street's a historic landmark. Down the road, and then everything we're in the downtown of this historic Hawaiian village, and all of our neighbors are art galleries or restaurants. So the location was never the problem. I think the main problem was that it had a huge, not sinkhole, depression.
Right. It was down below majority of the land around it. Correct.
Yeah, it was. It's a total of 18 feet in elevation drop from the buildable part of the lot, or what I would say is at road height part of the lot, and then what was a dry riverbed at the bottom of this large sunken depression. And it's a pretty significant piece of land. I'd say it's 1.2 or 1.3 acres in the downtown. But it's got this depression that I know people were walking down there. It's got mosquitoes. It was overgrown. It's not in the wet part of the island. It's in a dry part of the island. It's a lucrative part of the island, but it was just an unappealing lot. The way it sat, there were pigs that were on the lot that were chasing people. So anyway, it was unappealing because of this depression and what seemed to be unusable. Well, what we are now doing is taking advantage of that depression, adding a daylight basement on the lower side and a pool house and a pool. So we're taking advantage of what really is a tropical garden. When you remove all that tall cane grass, it's a beautiful lot with tall fruit trees everywhere, avocados, mangoes, everything you can imagine.
Yeah, one of the largest avocado trees in the area.
Yeah, that's what they said. It's the largest one in the area. It looks like it's maybe 80 feet tall. It's huge.
That's huge.
It's a massive mango tree, and it's got some really big, a really big kukui nut tree, which is a type of Hawaiian nut that they use for food and body lotion, all kind of stuff. So anyway, that was that property. That property we bought, I want to say it's like $80,000, and it's now valued over $500,000. Yeah. I think the last time we looked it was like $530,000. But we bought that 5 or 6 years ago.
And that's undeveloped.
Undeveloped, yeah. We haven't developed it. We're just now finishing our design on it, and yeah, it's exciting
So
design.
was that listed for sale somewhere, or did you just find that as a bank-owned lot?
No, that one was listed.
Okay.
It had been listed for a while, and yeah, when I looked up the history of it, it had been foreclosed on. The bank had it in foreclosure. They were in the Midwest somewhere, and wanted to get rid of it, but it just was not moving. So
one of those prime situations when looking for property.
Yep.
If you can, obviously there's a reason something's not selling, and if you can find a way to make it work and get that at a good deal.
Yeah.
Like you said, 80 grand versus over 500, 530 right now, and you just purchased that just a few years ago.
Yeah, just in passive equity, just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
So that's Hawaii.
Yeah, so that's probably the easiest one that we've come across.
Amargosa Valley, that 40 acres we purchased down there was out of a divorce. Again, very simple. We structured a deal with them that was amicable for everybody, and then we purchased that property. It's 40 acres down by Vegas that now has gone up in value, and we're planning on building down there for our purposes. We've had projects down in Vegas for a long time, so we're going to use that land. It's in a county that doesn't require any planning, any permits, so that makes it nice, much quicker for us. So that's Nye County. 150th out here. 150th was okay. 150th was a little bit more complex, but this is a great tool for anybody to use that is looking at building and buying raw land.
Yeah, this is probably the most useful for a home.
Especially in this area because it comes up a lot. So 150th Avenue is 15 acres that had been purchased. DNR permit was pulled, allowing them to clear cut all the trees on the land.
How many acres was that?
15 acres.
15 acres, all clear cut.
And this is before, obviously, we had purchased it. So it was a tree harvesting, company purchased the land, pulled the DNR permit, I think in August. So they had the DNR permit up immediately after the closing. I think they even submitted it maybe just after closing. Yeah. And then had it clear cutted. And I think this is back in 2014. So they clear cut the entire property. There's slash piles everywhere. They're required to plant seedlings. And they put it on the market. And so by my quick numbers, just looking at what was there, Google Earth and what wasn't there, and a friend of mine that does these type of harvest and buy, harvest, sell properties, he figures they pulled $400,000 in really tall timber because it had not been harvested in decades. There was very tall trees on the property. So his guess is he knew the lot that they sold at the height of the market when they harvested and sold, that they probably made $400,000 off the tree harvest and sale. So their net is what he anticipated was about $400,000 after the property was purchased and all the equipment was paid for, materials paid for, hourly laborers, and then sold. And there were some massive cedar stumps in there, some really nice wood. So they bought the lot for $150,000, but in pulling the DNR permit, they had to agree to put it into a 6-year moratorium with the Department of Natural Resources. So that 6-year moratorium locked that land up. So what the owner in that case is doing is saying, I'm not going to harvest that land for at least 6 more years, and I'm going to replant. Well, they hadn't replanted. They hadn't done any of the due diligence to complete it. They just harvested, sold the timber, and then went to sell the property. So obviously when I came to buy it, nobody was looking at this because he couldn't build on it. It was useless.
It's unbuildable because of the moratorium.
So what we did was we went in, we met with the county in feasibility, made sure that we could develop it, figured out how we could develop it. Turns out there was a single family dwelling exception that we could apply for. And we applied for that and then pulled the permit, and now there's a home there. So that's an example where we purchased land that had been purchased the year before for $150,000, I think. We purchased it for $70,000. And so we immediately had $80,000 in equity, and which rolled into the building itself and paid for a lot of the shop. So Yeah, obviously we would have rather been the $400,000 guy.
Yeah.
But the DNR permit, if you pull it, you're very unlikely to also get the exceptions to develop it.
Right. If you were the person to
The county doesn't like that.
Yeah, they don't want you clearing the land, selling the timber, and then building on it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, they don't like that.
under the DNR.
Yeah.
Yeah, moratorium.
Yeah. So that was 150th, and that building is on our website. We've talked about that before. I'm try and go through these a little quicker because I know
that was a 2-acre exception, right?
single family dwelling is what we used. We could have pulled it out of moratorium completely,
Oh, okay.
but that would have cost $10,000 additional dollars and probably taken 6 more months.
Gotcha.
So by going for the single family dwelling exception, we were able to do what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was 150th. The waterfront property on Rocky Bay, that property was delisted, had expired 2 years prior. So it's just something where, we were driving around in that area looking for a piece of property that was waterfront in that area and actually saw an old real estate sign that had fallen over, and we were able to just read, what is her name? I forget this realtor's name, but we were able to read her name enough that we could go, oh, okay. That realtor happened to be still working in the area, so we were able to find the property, and so we really quickly, actually on the phone with that one, while we were still in the lot, we called, the realtor said, I think they would still sell. They wanted to get rid of it. It happened to be their dream home, but the market crashed and they had to walk away from it. And then it just sat. And they wanted to sell it as an older couple that had since moved and bought something else and had written this off. So while we're on the phone, the realtor calls. I said, well, what would they take? She says, well, they were asking $60,000, I think, or $55,000. And I said, okay, do you think they'll take that still? And this is 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago, whenever. And she goes, yeah, I think they would. I'll call them. So while we're on the phone, we actually get a deal from standing over an old real estate
That's
sign.
awesome.
Yeah. So that lot is worth probably $230
at least.
I guess.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
1.5 acres waterfront in Gig Harbor.
yeah.
So
I think it's worth more than that.
Might be. Yeah, I don't know. But that was a sweet
That was a good
purchase.
find.
That was really just boot leather.
Yeah.
Just, I think Jake might have been with me. I can't remember. We were walking around. We were trying to find something. That brings us to the most hairy of them, which I hope we haven't wasted a lot of time because this is the one that is the most.
The
current, our current feasibility, and we are in feasibility on this property now.
We have not closed on this.
So I won't give away the name, location, any of that stuff, but it is a hairy property. It is there are some environmental issues that the government and the state and the city have all actually tried to collaborate to move this thing along.
Right.
And to no avail. City was unable to build it and get the NFA, no further action. We'll probably get into a lot of these wonky terms later.
Yeah.
I'll just explain the nuts and bolts of it. So the land has environmental issues. And those environmental reports, the way those work, I don't know if I should get this wonky. Really easily, if you have phase 1, phase 2, and a phase 3 environmental report. There's a lot of, you could really get into the weeds on these, but the way to easily look at it is the phase 1 is, do we have a problem? The phase 2 is, how big is the problem? And the phase 3 is, how are we going to fix the problem? That's the easy way.
Yeah, to explain.
Yeah. So we have phase 1 and 2 done on the property. So we were able to access that. This site has actually been listed on the Department of Ecology's list, naughty boy list if you want to call it, that it is a score of 1 out of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst environmental hazard. All of that, not to say that is a joke, but when you read it, let me just put it this way. Now, I was chemistry, so a lot of this stuff I understood before. In college, I was a chemistry and biology major. And so when I read about the combustible polyaromatic hydrocarbons and talked to the environmental guys that I knew, they were able to tell me if that was an issue. When I read about the lead and the lead levels, I could talk to friends in environmental and ask them, and they say, well, yeah, you could have an issue there, but there's also ways around it. If you get something that's hot for lead, it's probably lead in a strike zone. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean it's going to be hot everywhere.
Right.
So in a large, some guys, anyway, there's a lot of ways around this. But the bottom line was, at each time when I got to a point in the environmental where I thought, okay, this is going to be a problem, I was able to figure out how to get around it. Mm-hmm. So it looks like now we are going to be able to purchase a property that is worth way more than we're paying for it. Mm-hmm. Again, it's in the feasibility. So we've got 45 days to jump through those environmental. And what we have on that is, so far, so we're on day 10 of the environmental.
Yeah.
I've talked to 3 environmental consultants. I talked to the environmental guys that did the report on this one. I talked to the environmental report guys that did the property next door and got the NFA for the city in like 14 or 15. I'm now going through, there's a couple issues, and that's the part I'm working through now. One of them, it revolves around, it's really hard to get an NFA from the Department of Ecology. That means no further action. They've put it on this list, naughty lot list, and now to get it off there, you want to get an NFA. But there's some catches. My banking friends tell me, and I'll find out more about this, that an NFA can sometimes take years to go through the Department of Ecology. So you can, I'm being told, and I'll find out about this more over the next 35 days.
That's what you have left.
That you can hire so the way these go is you hire a environmental consultant. That environmental consultant generates the phase 3 report and tells you how to clean it up. Mm-hmm. And then is there to basically audit your cleanup.
I see.
Test and eval. And then at the end of it, they're going to do a full test. That's really most of what you're paying for. Is they're going to do a full test of what you've done and what you've cleaned up on that lot. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to give a after action report, if you will. You can pay for a second environmental, or third, I guess you call it a neutral third party, second environmental consultant as a neutral third party to come in and verify that first environmental consultant's work and provide questions, feedback, and a report of their own.
Okay.
That'll cost you about $25,000.
But you're double checking the work of the original environmental guy.
And that may be enough for the bank to then loan to a buyer that wants to buy from you, or if you want to pull your money out of it after you're done with the build. In our case, we want to build a commercial lot.
Right.
And we want to pull our money out afterwards. Yeah.
So this, just as a high level overview, it's a waterfront property again.
Yeah.
Downtown historic area of a city, very desirable.
Yeah.
But deemed basically unbuildable by multiple people. Really just one.
Yeah, a lot of people over 8 years, 9 years.
One legitimate one, and then a lot of kind of echo reports, I would say.
Yeah, I think where most people come out on this property is they look at it, they start to look at it, and they think, oh man, this is going to cost me a lot of money, $300,000-$400,000, and I may never get the Department of Ecology's NFA.
The NFA, yeah.
And it's just too much for most people,
yeah,
right?
It's a risk.
It's like, God, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's a risk if you're not willing to do the legwork. So once again, one of those properties where if you look deeper into it, just like Hawaii.
Yeah.
You look deeper into it, if you can jump through the hoops, get around whatever's there, the roadblocks that are, I don't want to say artificially put in place, but they just didn't go deep enough to, really deem it as unbuildable.
Yeah.
So.
What it is it's risk equals reward.
Yeah. And how much work are you willing to put into it?
You're looking at a $600,000, $700,000 upside. We didn't talk about this property.
No, not yet.
So it's similar to this property where, this property we bought.
Talking about our office, our headquarters.
Yeah, our offices. So we bought this land with 2 homes on it and 2 outbuildings. 1 home? 2 homes. No, it's 2 homes. 2 homes and 2 outbuildings for $150,000. And it was a crack house, I think, is pretty much how everyone that's the terms.
The area's not the best. It's a military area.
It's coming up.
It's coming up.
With our building, it's really coming up.
Yeah.
So we helped. So we purchased that property for $150. We demoed those buildings, and it was a true lane address, right? So which is a backside street.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We built it because of the main road, Bridgeport Way. So if you look at our address, it's Bridgeport Way. Yeah. But we bought these lots actually faced True Lane, which is the next street over, kind of going through. It's a side street. Yeah. Side street.
And so the other thing was it's a commercial lot, but if you talk to real estate agents, you'd think this would be beaten into them. Highest and best use, highest and best use, highest and best use. If they had known this was commercial and they had marketed it as commercial, it would have gone for $1 million.
Yeah.
But because the realtors were residential realtors, this property was taken over by, I'm guessing, the attorneys that took it over was because of a lawsuit.
Right.
So it was held by attorneys who had never lived here, probably never visited it, and a realtor that probably never visited it.
Yeah, because if you see photos or somebody takes photos, 2 little 800 square foot crack houses, that are run down for years, if not abandoned.
And 30,000 cars a day.
Yeah.
Right here on Bridgeport Way.
30,000 cars a day.
And we're elevated. It's 8 feet above the street. It's great marketability.
Home. Yeah. And not commercial, because there was no street access to Bridgeport Way on those lots. So you just had a busy 5-lane highway behind your house.
Yeah.
And it's a rundown 800 square foot,
Yeah, it would be as if you owned 2 acres in the downtown area, but it opened up to a slow side street.
Right.
And you had to deal with all this noise from 30,000 cars away just ripping by in front of you.
Yeah.
The reality was it's commercial.
Yeah, nobody wants to live there.
Very lucrative lot. So what we did is we did this in feasibility. We determined that we could purchase the property, close True Lane, and open Bridgeport Way access. When we did that, people were coming up to me with their mouth on the floor. It's just like, what did you guys
The amount of money that you were able to get this property for, and the amount that it's probably worth now, because there was another rundown home right down the street.
Yeah.
It was like a home-based business type of deal, right off of Bridgeport, 2 blocks away. They did tear down the home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the lot is available and it's for sale. And it's, what is it, like 8 something?
Well, there's a half-acre lot right here on the left as you go down towards the highway. That's $890. Half acre. This is 2 acres.
And it's half an acre with nothing on it.
No, a block and a half away.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, this was $150,000. I don't even know. $2 million would probably be the value of the land.
The land, yeah.
So that was definitely the score of the century. Yeah.
So it's funny because this land, we started building here, and then they ended up doing all the road improvements with brand new, road, sidewalks, turn lane, everything.
Yeah.
At the same time, and shortly after.
We bid on that work too.
Yeah.
We knew that was coming.
We bid on the main street.
We tried to get that job. But,
and then they put up 300-400 units or whatever it is, 200 units right across the street.
There's 300 or 400 high end condominiums now. This area has exploded.
Yeah, within the past 4 years.
Yeah. So it started with us, but so that tells you, there are, and then there was the other one that we walked away from that we were talking about earlier. They'd changed the zoning. Otherwise, we would probably be on the waterfront down there with that lot.
Instead of this Lakewood address here.
That was a great lot.
Yeah.
We would have been, had we done that, had they not changed the zoning, that lot, we were going to pay $600,000 for that lot. Waterfront, 1.2 acres, down on the Thefos.
Thefos Waterway.
How much would that be worth now? I don't even know.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
But with the zoning change, they wanted, what did you say they wanted?
The zoning changed in our last feasibility meeting. Zoning changed on that lot. They apologized. They didn't know. They had changed the zoning or voted on it years before. And literally, while we're closing feasibility, moving to close, closing feasibility and then moving to close, they find out in the last feasibility meeting we had with the city of Tacoma that lot, the zoning had been changed, and all of those lots were now water-based business only. which we're not a water-based general contractor like you know, Martinson or
They want something that'll contribute to the traffic of the waterway.
Yeah, they want like a Bergerson Construction or someone down there that's got boats.
Yeah.
You know, that is working. You know, they want a working water. I get it. But that would have been a very lucrative deal for us.
Yeah.
Probably on par with this one.
Yeah. This
So
is
sometimes you make money.
Yeah.
When you buy. What's this? What are we doing this building stuff for?
Just buying stuff. So we're coming up. We're just past a half an hour or so on this video, but I guess the lesson to be learned is that you don't know until you look.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put the work in, you can get a great deal that'll be worth, even if you don't even build, like you said.
Yeah. And feasibility. We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Our customers look at feasibility as a huge nightmare. I have always seen it as a huge opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity to make money or make a better deal for yourself.
I mean, if you're looking at your feasibility period as a nightmare, I think you're looking at it wrong.
Yeah, or you could find the lot that has the hookups and everything right there off the street. Maybe you have half your driveway already paved in, but you pay the top dollar for that.
Yeah.
You're not going to be making money on that for quite some time.
Yeah. I had a buddy that in the Navy, when we were flying fighters back in Fallon, he used to buy beat up property. And he used to always say, when he walked into a house and it smelled like, that to him was the sound, or there was the scent of money.
Yeah. So you see,
That's how you look at
the
it.
shows on TV.
Yeah.
People try to find the most rundown things or the historic building that nobody wants to buy.
Yeah.
And they get it.
Yeah.
Make a huge flip.
One man's garbage, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap that up. So that was this was just a quick explanation on feasibility, because majority of the contact that we get from potential clients is that, I'm looking to purchase land, or I'm in the middle of, looking at a specific lot, and they're kind of lost. They come to us and they say, can you go take a look at it and tell me if it's buildable? There's some legwork that goes into that. It depends on what buildable means. Some people want a daylight basement, which means that you have to place the home on a certain portion of the land, and that may not be feasible. You can build closer to the street, but you won't have that view that you want. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that goes into it. We do have contacts and partners that offer those services as well.
We're working through the feasibility. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we can help out with that. But just some things to take note of when you're out there looking for land. Anything else that you have to contribute?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, thank you guys again for watching. I know there's been a lapse in video. We currently have about 5 years of contracted work at the moment.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of backlog, which is good. we're not late on anything, but
it's a good problem to have. But,
it is hard to find time for new clients, but we're bringing on new employees and work through it.
So we do have a private residential home coming up here pretty soon, possibly. Kind of up north from where we're at, but that's an exciting build. We should be able to video document that, get some videos out on that as well. Hopefully get some videos on Hawaii pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll have to send you guys out there.
I'm okay to go with that. I'll get my Hawaiian t-shirt.
There you go. Once the coronavirus.
Put the lay on before you even leave.
We measure too. 6 minutes, 6 feet.
Yeah, 6. It's just the camera.
6 feet.
It's recorded 8 months ago.
Yeah. Camera adds 10 pounds, and we got 3 cameras on us, so that's 30 pounds right there.
And a beard. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you like this type of content, let us know. We replied to pretty much every comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll be posting this on Facebook and probably a small clip on Instagram, maybe 30 seconds of it, just to kind of give a gist. With the link as well. But I think we're going to be exploring Parler as another avenue pretty soon.
All of them.
Yep. So
throw them all up there.
Yeah, Parler, Twitter, everything. This will be our first video on everything. So, if you guys have any other questions, let us know. Thank you again for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, please do. Like the video if you liked it. If you disliked it, so be it.
Yeah.
We have fun making these videos, and providing this information. None of this is, industry secret. It's just helping people kind of find land and build their homes. There's a lot to it a lot of the time. It may seem overwhelming, but once you power through that feasibility period, it's smooth sailing for the most part. After that.
That's where you earn, at least you can earn big money.
A lot of money. So living proof right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a good day. Thanks again for watching.
need me, yeah. It is not like I don't want you, just scared